All right, hello everybody. This is Tism Talk. Connor and I here are talking about our theories about
The Legend of Zelda. I don't know what Khayman's damage is. Khayman, what's your damage? Why are you damaged?
Connor.
What?
It's my birthday.
Did I ask?
It's my birthday, Connor.
Oh, okay. Why are you talking like this, Khayman? It's just a birthday. I don't have one every few years.
I have to do the thing, Connor.
What's the thing? What's the theme? What's the thing,
I have
Khayman?
to do the thing, Connor.
Khayman, what's the thing? Khayman, wait, what's the thing? Khayman.
I have to do the thing.
Khayman, wait.
Well, that looks like about enough. All right, so today is my birthday. So we are going to talk about my birthday-related things.
Memories from his childhood.
Stop trying to reference things. Why are you just like the lowest form of comedy and humor is just referencing other shit.
I know.
Stop being unfunny.
I'm very funny.
Anyway, so what would you like to start with?
All right, what is your most traumatic memory?
Really pulling the traumatic shit out first, huh?
Yeah.
Back off. Well,
What else would I go for first?
I think that I don't fucking know. What's your happiest memory? What's your first memory? First, you're like, what's the thing that sometimes keeps you up at night and makes it hard for you to close your eyes?
What traumatized you as a child?
Well, I do have one of those. My mother and I had just moved up here to
Old lady in
Wisconsin.
the closet?
No, that's my mom. My mom was scared by Uncle Josh making up that story.
I like how
of the
you
old lady
say
in the closet.
my mom, our mom.
The reason I say my mom is you didn't exist yet. So at the time, she was just my mom.
I always existed. I've always been around.
Yes, as an egg in her ovary.
No, I was long before her time.
No.
I am an eldritch being.
No, you're not. Shut up.
Yes, I am.
Connor, come on. Let me tell my thing. You're the one who asked. All right, so traumatic memory.
We'll continue my history on my birthday. 9 days.
You're not being picked up for most of that.
9 days.
Okay, Jesus Christ.
Technically 8.
Well, yeah, this year. Wah wah. No real birthday for you this year. You have to wait till next year.
All right, that just makes that birthday ever extra bad.
My birthday today. Anyway, so my most traumatic memory. My mom and I had just moved up here to Wisconsin, and we were living with Elena in the Marshall house, which you're familiar with.
Yes.
And the Marshall house was
Wait, what's the Marshall house again?
the house she lives in right now.
Who's Marshall?
In Marshall. The Marshall house. The house in Marshall where Elena lives.
Oh, yeah.
You fucking goofus.
You should have just said where Aunt Nana lives.
She lives in Marshall. It's the house in Marshall.
I mean,
and I also said we
Nana,
moved up
or
and
like
lived
the Seeps house.
with her sister, Elena.
I didn't hear that.
Well, open your fucking ears. You're the one who asked the question. Anyway, so we just moved up here. And Elena was already aware that the house was a little off. There's something not right about it. And as soon as my mom and I moved in, everything got a lot worse. There were
I feel like
weird...
you're gonna be like, the house was haunted.
Yeah.
Okay, is it still haunted?
Hopefully not. There has been numerous priests and holy men of various faiths who have come in and done numerous rituals to attempt to... Yes. I guess you're now old enough to know that. Don't tell this shit to Penelope.
Don't worry, I will.
Connor, seriously, don't.
I won't, maybe.
Anyway, I'm dead serious. Don't tell her. This is something that we specifically do not tell to the younger people.
Does Aiden know?
Yeah.
Alright, I was going to say.
Because he reached an age where I felt it was appropriate. And I think Mom told him to, some of the stuff. Anyway, the worst of it was gone before he was born. Anyway, so it got much worse when Mom and I moved in. There was a lot of weird noises, and a lot of the stuff ended up affecting me. We're not exactly sure why, but I seemed to be a target.
It's because you're a ghost.
No, don't.
It's because you're special.
No, I'm not. I am just normal. Literally, anytime I hear anyone's ghost story and they talk about it being an exciting thing, I say, you're full of shit. You've never seen anything. Because I can tell you with 100% certainty, Connor, I never want to experience anything like I did in that house ever again.
So, Khayman, me and Phoebe have noticed some stuff like that. So I think Phoebe took it to our house. Because there was a time me and Phoebe were unloading the dishwasher. This was at the start of quarantine. And,
okay, then you guys were definitely just paranoid.
Anyway, there was a fork in the dishwasher. Phoebe was putting away a cup. I was putting away a bowl. And when we went, the fork was the last, the silverware was the last thing. We had most of it in. And when we went to grab the fork, it was gone.
I see. One of you definitely forgot it. I don't think that a lot of let me finish with my thing, because we're getting there. I have to build up to this because it built up to this, and this is when the stuff actually ended up getting done. So this is just a tangential fact that we'll need later. But during this time is when I had my first cat, Milo, the orange tabby.
Oh no.
Yeah. Anyway, so one of the first big things that happened is I was using the bathroom down there in the basement, which I think they may have just started using as a storage thing. People don't go in there anymore.
They did. Then they cleaned it out when Cade moved into the basement.
Anyway, so I was in the basement bathroom. And I did my business. And then after I'd washed my hands, I went to try and go out.
How old were you doing this?
I was probably 7 or 8. It was right around the time my eyes turned green.
Tasty.
So, I was in the bathroom, started to go out, and the door handle wouldn't move. And the thing about this,
I was going to say, is Cade messing with you? But then I remembered Cade would not exist for another 12 years.
Yeah, no, Aiden wasn't born yet, so I must have been 7. Yeah, so the thing about that is that the basement bathroom door didn't have a lock. So...
Was Uncle Chris messing with you?
Definitely not. There was no one in the basement. So I tried to turn the handle, and it wouldn't turn. And so I was confused at first, and then I started just kind of ripping at the door as hard as you can when you're 7. And it's still not moving at all. And so I I get really freaked out now, because now I'm stuck in this bathroom, and if you've been in there before, it's really small and claustrophobic. So I started to panic, because I'm trapped in this bathroom that doesn't lock, and that shouldn't be able to happen. And so I start banging, and I'm like, hey, I'm stuck in the bathroom. I'm not really freaked out yet, but I'm starting to get, upset, because, I'm a kid. And
again, I just want to say, whenever I imagine younger you, it's always the same body type, just younger face and smaller.
No, I used to be really, really thin. I'm a really small kid.
No.
One of my first nicknames was Skeletor.
I thought it was K-Dog, Megatron, Hailstorm.
No, that came in high school, because I said I hated nicknames and I didn't want one, so I was given a full nickname over the years. I hate it to this day. And I know for a fact when I go to my high school reunion, I'm going to get called K-Dog.
K-Dog, Megatron, Skeletor, Hailstorm.
I hope that they've forgotten the Megatron part, because the Megatron part is the dumbest. it's because the person who granted me that middle nickname thought that I sounded a bit like Megatron one day when I was really angry. Because the Transformer movies had come out recently, I think.
Was it the 3D one or the one Optimus Prime died?
The Michael Bay ones. The Optimus Prime one came out when I was a kid.
Michael Bay.
Anyway, so the adults then came down. I heard them and they came down and they started trying to open the door and they couldn't open. They're like, "Are you holding it?" I'm like, "No, I'm not holding it," because I had let go. I was letting the adults try and open the door. And it still wouldn't open. And then I got this overwhelming feeling that I was in danger. And it wasn't like I was stuck in their danger. Because there was
anxiety.
Kind of. But
like a spider sense.
I don't know. But it wasn't like a thing like I was going to be trapped in there forever. Because there was as you should remember, there's a window in there.
Like an eagle vision.
Okay, stop trying to do all this shit. Let me tell you asked me about my traumatic story. Let me fucking tell my traumatic story. Because to this day is, I think, one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. Not this, but the thing that happens after this. So it wasn't like I was trapped in there. If they needed to, they could open up that window and just pull me out. But I felt... It's not exactly a feeling, because, a lot of people I felt like there was a presence there. That's not what I felt at the moment. I just felt like if I stayed in that bathroom, I was going to get hurt somehow. And I don't know why. Again, because I think everyone who says all this, nonsense, I felt like someone was there. What do you mean you felt like someone was there? Did you see someone? No, you were paranoid. But I felt like I was in danger. And this went on for a while, and I'm starting to push on the door too to try and open it. And then suddenly, it had never been locked before and wasn't ever stuck. It just, my mom was just able to twist the handle and it opened. And I, of course, came fucking running out into her arms. I was really freaked out. And I remember that the adults, being my mom, Elena, and Uncle Chris, were all
like how you didn't say Aunt Elena. No, it's because Uncle Chris.
I just call her Elena, but Uncle Chris is Uncle Chris.
You mean Aunt Nana?
Yes, Elena.
You started that.
Yes, Aunt Nana I did start, but now I mostly call her Elena. Because after a while, Aunt Nana just kind of started to blend into Elena too, because that's her actual name. It was and Nana. Anyway. So they I remember, all looked very perturbed. So some more time went by. There wasn't much for a while.
Were there any ghost activities beforehand?
Elena said before we had moved in. Mom told me later that there was weird stuff, but I wasn't told any of this as a kid because then I'd be like, "Hey kid, there's ghosts in the house."
I'd find it really funny if in 20 years Aunt Nana is like, "Oh yes, I remember the time you and your mother, I don't know why she's British, don't ask. You and your mother was staying with us and me and Uncle Chris were like, man, it'd be funny
It'd be cool if we summoned the devil to scare the shit out of this 7-year-old boy." Boy, howdy, let's give him a traumatic memory that'll haunt him in random nights forever.
It'd be funny if we made him think there was a ghost here. And they did something to mess with the door.
Nope, that's not what happened. And
maybe it's
that
just
would not
me seeing
explain
the
the
worst
next
in
thing.
people.
Anyway, so nothing happened for a while. And around this in-between time, my cat disappeared. Later, I was told that someone saw a cat that looked like my cat dead by the side of the road. But at the time, I just thought that Milo had disappeared. So I was in the basement, because that's where, a lot of my toys and stuff were, and where I had my Nintendo 64 plugged into the old TV my mom and I had from when we lived in the trailer. Whatever, you have fucking media room at this point. We were literally just a little bit ago. Yeah, you're making me mad by making fun of the shit that you just asked about. Anyway, so yeah, I was in there. I was, I think, watching what the hell was I watching? I think it might have been
Fantasia 2000.
No, I think it was Mucha Lucha, this old show that was about fantasy-style Mexican wrestlers. But, like, it was a school, and all it was about wrestling.
I swear I've heard of that before.
I'm sure you've heard of Mucha Lucha. It was wonderful.
You're right, I'm going to search it.
In fact, I am certain I was watching Mucha Lucha, because that's what I watched all the time.
I'm going to look it up and confirm.
Anyway, you do that while I actually finish telling my thing. And while I was in the basement, I swore that I heard a meowing sound. And I immediately jumped up because I was like, Milo's back. Like, Milo's finally come back. I was super happy because I'd really been missing Milo for a while.
Yeah.
And so I listened again to see if I could hear where it was coming from. Like, if she was like, she had gotten back into the house somehow, or if she was like outside in the front or outside in the back. Because we had, windows into the basement. And it sounded like the sound sounded like it was coming from the stairs up. So I was like, oh, she must be outside the front door, because that's where she used to wait and meow. And then this is where I'm going to ask you to pay attention, because this is the
All right, yeah,
the real traumatizing thing.
Yeah, I looked. Yeah,
Was that what you remember?
Yeah, no, I was thinking of something different.
Well, that's the thing from my childhood, Mucha Lucha.
I think it was...
Mucha Lucha, Mucha Lucha. Is that what it went? Anyway, so I heard the meow, sounding like it was coming from the front door. So I ran to the stairs and started, like, running up them.
Like the little gremlin run upstairs most kids do.
Yeah. And then I felt something like off, and then I heard the meow again, but behind me. And when I turned around, if you can imagine what a shadow looks like, right? Like you cast a shadow, it's on the ground or on the wall.
I've never seen a shadow before.
Oh, Connor, stop fucking with me here. Just like be nice for once.
Okay, I'm in real quick.
You asked me about this bad memory, and now you're being the biggest fucking asshole. I'm trying to spill my guts.
I just want to say, you looked behind you and you saw a shadow. You know how that sounds.
Well, if your fucking punk ass would let me fucking finish.
Keep going.
So, you know what a shadow looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you try to imagine if a shadow wasn't cast on something, but it was standing up?
Yeah, Leon. My sleep paralysis demon.
I don't find this funny at all. Like, not even remotely.
You said I'm joking.
Your face. So, when I heard the meow behind me and I turned around, I saw what looked like a shadow, but standing up. Like of a man-sized shadow.
Poltergeist.
I have no fucking idea, Connor. It was a horrifying experience when I was a child. And it was chasing me up the stairs. Like, it was standing up and it was moving at me. And so, of course, I pissed my pants and scrambled up the fucking stairs, and I ran to my mom's room and locked myself in there. Because I was home alone.
Remember how earlier I was telling you about, like, the schizophrenia I have sometimes, of where I will perfectly...
You mean the thing that I keep telling you to not call schizophrenia, because schizophrenia is an actual mental disorder, and what you have is sleep hallucinations because your sleep schedule is so bad and you exclusively play and watch horror content?
Yeah, so how I'll have, like, this one horror creature that'll be able to perfectly see doing something. The most frequent thing is either them going around a corner, just standing in the middle of a big room, in the bathroom, or them running up the stairs.
All right. Well, I don't have schizophrenia, and my sleep schedule's never been bad.
I know, I just wanted to share this with you.
I know.
But I wasn't fully joking about Leon. It's why I called him. He was the first instance I had of that, where it was a shadow with, like, red eyes that would be in my closet.
This thing was just Exactly what I described is equally like hard to comprehend for a person. It was like
The
it
incomprehensible.
was like there was an invisible projector screen behind where this thing was that a shadow was on. Because it didn't look like 3D. It looked flat, but up.
That's
And it was just a shadow.
Our minds can't perceive the thing, so, but nothing says we can't perceive the shadow.
I have no idea what this thing was.
It is also said
But what
that
I do
cats
know-
and dogs can see ghosts.
What I do know is that it is, to this day, the scariest thing I've ever experienced. And it's why I never fucking seem like I'm afraid of anything. Because this
Oh,
thing...
you were talking about that earlier.
Yes, because I figured that this subject might come up because I know you. But so, that was so bad that nothing else has ever really seemed scary to me. Nothing in a video, nothing can portray and bring me back to that moment when I was little, vulnerable, and I saw what looked like someone else in the house trying to hurt me. But there was no one there. And when I explained what I'd seen, my mom said that it was, it's going to be fine. It was probably like you probably just imagined something, which I knew was fucking bullshit. But then, not too long later, Elena contacted a priest who came and did a blessing on the house. And they also got a shaman because, our family is partially Native American, so we have some contacts there.
I don't fully mean this jokingly, but I believe Ed and Lauren were alive and working at the time you're talking about this. I don't know if fully
no
working.
fucking idea what you're talking about.
They were paranormal people. They would help with basically situations just like that.
If those people fucking came to me about anything, I'd tell them to go fuck themselves.
Well, they're both dead.
Well, there we go.
Their child's alive though. They have I'm pretty sure they're running their museum. They're what the Conjuring movies stuff was based off of.
Neat.
You're welcome.
But yeah,
You
so
can watch your trauma later.
I feel like it won't be the same because I'm not there. But yeah, so they brought in a priest and a shaman who then did a blessing on the house. And everything seemed to calm down a lot after that. I didn't have any more really terrible things. I didn't really understand what had happened at the time. I know now because I've been told that it was a priest and a shaman who came to do blessings on the house. I thought it was just visitors because that's what they told me. They're like, oh yeah, it's our friend. He's going to come and visit. Why don't you just go, hang out in your room for now? And so I did. Mm-hmm. The only thing I find weird is that I was allowed a TV in my room, which normally I was not. But I wasn't asking questions. I was fucking 7 years old. I was like, this is awesome. I get to watch TV in my bedroom.
That bit. I had the one thing that was off was I had a TV in my room, but I was going to ask questions.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna watch Mucha Lucha.
No, I watched the Muppets.
I don't know. I thought you were gonna say the Power Rangers.
I watched the Muppets from space or whatever. Oh God. Hey, that's a good movie. We get a lot of Gonzo content. We get to meet his people. Why he looks like a monster. While all the other Muppets look like animals, but he looks like a blue thing with a weird nose.
Red stoner drummer?
Oh, because that's a monster. What did it say? Temperature again?
I don't know. I honestly, I've gotten that when we're playing tag or something and you're chasing after me. But yeah, keep in mind, I look behind you, I see Senator Armstrong just running after me. You slippery old bastard.
Get you over here. Yes. Yes, I understand that I can be a bothersome person to be chased by because I look like I look. Anyway, so we got the camera working again. I can also be quite a
bothersome person to be chased by.
That's because you look like a gangly abomination. People are worried you're gonna rag and bone man on them and just fall to pieces.
People look behind us. Oh shit, the rake.
The rake. Anyway, you said you had a second memory question for me.
All right. So we just did your childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And guess what's next?
What?
What is the worst sickness you have ever had? And I feel like I probably know. You can say no to one of the...
Well, what you're thinking of, I think, is not illness. So I will go with what you just asked, which is illness. The worst time I got ill is when I contracted a toxin from a tick that is only recently mainstream topic of discussion, which is there is a type of tick that releases a toxin in you when it bites you, which eliminates your ability to eat red meat.
Is that why you don't eat red meat?
It's why I didn't for a long time.
Like right now?
Right now? No, I still eat red meat now.
Oh.
That's because it wears off after a while. What it does, as far as scientists seem to have been able to figure out, is that it removes your body's ability to properly digest the proteins in beef. And so essentially all that stuff goes undigested inside you, and it makes you ill because your body's not able to process it.
I know what you're talking about.
It's essentially, it gives you lactose intolerance, but for meat.
That sounds like a real
specifically
dick move
red
on
meat.
that, but on the hand of the tick.
Hey, don't mess with that one. That's the broken one.
Oh, sorry. I thought they moved.
No, the heads are not meant to move, but that one, the screw, broke some of the crystal on the inside. Yeah, stop touching my crystal horse head.
Anyway.
It's my book holders.
Continue.
They've been in the family a very long time. They're older than you.
Well,
They're older than me. I think they might be older than Mom. Anyway. So I got bit by this tick. And, of course, I was just a kid. I got bit by a tick.
Okay.
And we didn't eat a lot of red meat before, so it widely went unnoticed. But we were given a package by Great Aunt B, and she gave us essentially a package of farm fresh meats, including these beef burger patties.
Ooh.
It's really tasty.
Fun. I can't wait till the Culvers gets here.
I mean, the building is in there now, but it's still being finished, and then they got to hire people. I'm hoping they hire mostly local people, because that means that's more jobs for us and not them just bringing people into the town.
When I first heard about the Culver,
are important for a town.
I know, I'm not being like, oh, more jobs. I'm being like, oh, I want a job there, but I don't want to ruin the restaurant for myself.
Also, you don't want a job there because I don't think that'd be a good fit for you. Your fit is eventually working for me until I turn you into the new me and I can move on elsewhere.
You shrink, you just grab me by the head.
Push you down, grab your shoulders, pull them out, and no. I'll take you into Photoshop and just
I'll
just slider you.
You take away my silver eyes, make them green. Now for the eyes.
No, I don't need to. I have to just put the curse on you. Put the green eye curse on you.
I mean,
got
people
from
with
my
green
dad.
eyes are said to get ladies, so. I mean,
I've never been unlucky with women.
Yeah, it's the green eyes. That's all it is.
I like to think it's not that. Especially because my last girlfriend always forgot. We dated for years, Connor, but Kaylee constantly forgot what color my eyes were.
Yeah, I was real worried when you just said your last girlfriend, because that confused me. Because the only girlfriend of yours I've ever known is Kaylee.
Yeah. Well, that's because we were dating essentially your entire life. Penelope was born while we were in a relationship. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got these patties, and I ate them because it's a hamburger. It's delicious. I loved beef.
I don't know why, but at first I didn't imagine you eating the hamburger. I imagined you, like eating a hamburger. I imagined you grabbing the cold patties.
Just shoving them. I'm not that much of a monster. I'm not that desperate for protein. I'm not one of those guys who eats the raw eggs. Those guys.
You're not the
Those
Gastons.
guys need to take Gaston. Those were I choose to believe he was eating boiled eggs. that were
No,
just left.
he ate eggs.
Anyway, no, I'm not one of those guys who just need to calm the fuck down. You are not so desperate for protein you have to be like munching eggs at the gym.
I hate that because that immediately made me like think like, oh, like,
Connor,
time for my egg.
Connor, but unironically. And I think some of them eat the shell too.
Oh no,
Connor, they're crazy people. There are crazy
You
people at the
reminded
gym.
me of a
you know,
meme
you
that
know
was
what
like-
I do? I either have a protein shake because I'm not a loser who's like, oh, protein shakes are bad because it's not real food. It is real food. It's made with whey protein. Do you know how they get whey protein, Connor?
How?
They scoop it off the top of yogurt. Whey is what's left when you fully processed milk. It's the type of protein that's in a milk. And then they take that and they dry it out into a powder and then you just mix it into drinks. Ironically, sometimes into milk because that makes it tastier than if it's just water.
So Khayman, I just want to say,
Or like, put the milk fat back in the milk.
you reminded me of a TikTok, or not TikTok. I don't have
They'll
TikTok.
be like, you offended
I was
me.
watching like a meme compilation.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't say completion that time.
A meme completion.
And
I remember that.
a TikTok came up that was
And you're like, oh no, the Chinese, they're going to take my data.
a TikTok came up on it, and it was like someone like, yeah, I got fresh eggs, and it was like the traditional like brown eggs, and then it was cut to another person like,
brown eggs aren't even like the traditional. Eggs traditionally just come in a bunch of colors. It depends
Yeah.
on what kind of hen you have.
but yeah, no, it was fully
Wendy
like
gives a lot of blue and green eggs because that's the kind of chicken she has.
alien.
No, they come
But
in all
so-
sorts of colors. Robin eggs are bright blue. That's the name of a type of blue is robin egg blue.
Yeah, but so it was like the tannish brown eggs.
Mm-hmm.
And it cuts to another person, like, imagine not having white eggs, and they, like, had an egg just, like, bit down on it like an apple.
They don't bite down. They just put it in their mouth. It
Just
Connor,
like
it's crazy.
Gaston.
Anyway, but yeah, I'm not one of those losers who's like, oh no, anti-protein powder. But otherwise, if like I don't have any like a protein shake on hand or anything, I just like
He was a lad, he
I
ate 6 dozen eggs.
I do eat a lot of eggs. I probably eat about a dozen eggs
That's one
in
thing
the
I'm
course
worried.
of 2 days.
That's honestly what I'm worried about when I move out. I'm just not gonna make meals for myself, and I'm gonna go with like easy options, or
Well,
like I'm
then
not gonna make
don't.
like eggs or something. I'll still make like pizza. I'm worried I'm gonna become like Dante and only eat pizza.
Then don't do that. It's that easy. Just don't. Be like me. Cook all your own shit.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying I'll never cook, but I'm just worried that I'm not gonna cook often.
No. Not always cook. Not
I wonder
often
if
cook.
Mom and Dad will let me
Always
take the waffle
cook.
maker.
Probably not.
But I was the one.
But
who
that also
found
doesn't
it, so-
count as making. Yeah, it's just. That's not good food to make for yourself. Anyway, the other thing I eat when I don't have like a protein powder is I don't eat a fucking raw egg. I eat a chicken breast. It's a good
Oh,
source
man.
of lean protein.
Don't have any like protein things.
Well, I guess I'll just
There's
eat
an
a
egg.
raw egg. No, they do that in their mouth. They take the thing and they quick.
Yeah, I know.
I saw
I
this.
realized
I
that
saw
me
this video
going to
once, and I was
grab
like,
it would probably crack.
No. I saw this video once, right, where I was like, oh god, it's not just a thing I've seen. There's other people who fucking do this. Where this guy's filming stuff at the gym, and then he sees, I don't know if his friend or just another guy, but just like quickly pops something in his mouth, and then like there's this kind of crunch noise, and the guy's like, hey, what did you just put in your mouth? And he's like, nothing. And he's like, did you just fucking put an egg in your mouth? And he's like, and there's like another crunch noise. He's like, no. And I'm like, you're a monster. Like, I hardly accept those people who eat the like raw egg out of the shell. These fuckers are putting it in their mouth and crunching. I don't believe that they're going to like a waste basket and just going like later. I think they're swallowing it because they're like,
I
oh,
don't
calcium.
know.
Okay.
For a bit, this will be the last thing. So, I was watching some like Dragon Ball Super, and there was like some dumb stuff of, oh god, I'll be trained by him if I make him food he's never had before.
What?
And so
Okay.
Vegeta tries to make him an omelet. The only problem is Vegeta is so strong, when he touches an egg, it shatters. So he
Are
physically
you mocking
can't.
me?
No, he just physically can't hold an egg, and I found that funny.
I could always physically hold an egg, Connor, but there was a point in which I was bodybuilding in which I could not properly crack eggs anymore because they kept fucking exploding.
I didn't know about
Okay,
that.
I thought you did, and I thought you were directly just calling me out. No, so there was a bit of
There's
time.
a clip of Vegeta trying to make an omelet. He's wearing an apron
I don't
and just
care about
he's
Dragon
like-
Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z should have ended years ago. Unpopular opinion, nerds. It's not good anymore. It's been going on for too long.
Goku's
It's-
gotten too
it's-
strong.
Well, there's that. But also, like, why is it still called Dragon Ball Z? It's not about the Dragon Balls anymore. The Dragon Balls were
Dragon
destroyed.
Ball Z anymore. It's Dragon Ball Super.
Even worse.
And guess
Where did the Z come from? Was
Well,
it
it was-
Dragon Balls?
No, it was because they were called the Z Fighters because they were like the last resort. Anyway, and last thing about this, Superman does beat Goku. All right.
I literally don't care. What does drive me insane, though, right, is, okay, this is going to be a side tangent here.
But can he
Anytime,
beat Goku?
no, anytime I see, like, oh, let's do a power thing, like these really powerful characters, which one will win? And Saitama's on him in, like, One Punch Man, and he doesn't win, I'm like, okay, so you guys clearly just do not understand the assignment. You don't pay attention. Because Saitama is canonically ungodly powerful.
He's
just
another
and just
immovable object. Or non-movable. He's the unstoppable force.
He's both.
He's the immovable force.
Like it seems that he is quite literally invincible, and his level of strength literally breaks physics.
Yeah.
No Goku, no nothing. Not Superman could not beat this man because Superman can do the equivalent of lifting a planet, but Saitama has the power of a red giant.
Saitama punched like another guy, and their fists collided, and they were physically teleported away, and then the force of that destroyed several stars.
It destroyed several stars, and it was deemed that their punch colliding because the other guy had mimicked Saitama's power at that moment. And it was deemed by Blast, the number one hero, that they are so powerful that if their fists were to collide on Earth, Earth would cease to be. So he had to teleport them into space so that their force would go elsewhere. And yes, it shows that there's just stars missing from either direction where they're colliding. And it hit them so hard they landed on one of the moons of Jupiter, which Saitama then proceeded to completely destroy by putting his hand in the ground and just, I guess he grabbed a tectonic plate and flipped it. I'm sorry, Dragon Ball Z fans. Goku physically can't beat Saitama.
And that's another
he
thing.
can try his instant transmission or like his spirit bombs or whatever, his Kamehamehas or whatever.
And that's another
and
thing.
And Saitama will like bat them. He might sneeze and push it away. Garo tried to put him. Garo tried to put him into a dimensional gateway, and Saitama just kicked it away. Not a physical thing, a metaphysical object, a portal, he kicked away like it was a rug and said, "Stop with the tricks, bro."
And also, Goku in Dragon Ball Super, canonically, he is not the strongest person ever. His gods of destruction are still stronger than him.
Okay, the
Jiren.
strongest beings in Dragon Ball Z could not beat Saitama.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Saitama
Jiren would lose.
is an unreasonable monster, and even more unreasonably is due to time's paradox nonsense. His future self that got super ultra powered up because he was really angry about spoilers that happened slapped into his that present time self, and they fused together. Which probably means that strength just kind of came together. So now he has his strength, which is unfathomable, plus his future self's even worse unfathomable strength because he was under stress and that made his power level shoot up high. Like, Vegeta puts on that stupid goggle where he misquotes and says it's over 9,000, even though I'm pretty sure it's like not that. I think that
Everyone was meant to be like 900.
Yeah, it's something. He puts it on and it explodes because it cannot calculate a number that big.
Not only does it explode,
and then he starts screaming because his headache. He's like, it's not possible. I'll never be the strongest. And then Vegeta will like go home and like be a stay-at-home dad and not be honest, mean.
I feel like Dragon Ball should have ended at the Cell Saga. I feel like that was good.
Probably. I don't know any of the sagas. All I know is that the Dragon Balls got destroyed at some point, and that is probably when the series should end. When the object was... It'd be like if One Punch Man kept going, but Saitama somehow died.
One Punch Man keeps going, but Saitama doesn't have hands anymore.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, okay, cool. Or like, let's do another work by One. Who's the guy who made One Punch Man. It'd be like continuing Mob Psycho... But Mob
just... Psycho 2?
Yeah.
But Mob
No, it's not Mob Psycho 2, it's Mob Psycho 100.
Oh. Shut up.
That's the name of the thing. You said 2.
No, I meant he made Mob Psycho 2.
I know. I was just taking advantage of the fact that you didn't said Mob Psycho 100 2.
Is Mob Psycho good?
Yeah. It ended recently, actually.
Oh.
The webcomic had been over for a while, then the manga was ending, and now the anime has reached the conclusion too. Real good, A+ stuff. Mob comes to love himself and stop being an emotionally repressed monster.
I think that's the problem with Dragon Ball. It refuses
have an end.
to stop.
Yeah.
Everything ends.
The death of a series is when it refuses to end.
Yeah, no, even like Virgil explicitly calls that out when he's fighting Dante in Devil May Cry 5. He goes...
He's like, isn't 5 games too many, Dante?
No, he goes, all things end, Dante, even us.
But not my tax evasion. You're the one who showed me that. It's your fault. You have to pick up the pieces.
I think Virgil was on something about that tax thing.
Anyway, getting back to...
we gotta cut off Florida.
Getting back to
Soon it'll go for Walt Disney World.
Oh my God, anyway... Back to the subject that brought up Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
You know, there was a period of time in which when I'd try and crack eggs, I would just shatter them and get shell everywhere, and I got really mad about it.
Right,
so for a while... No, I'm the big Pisano.
Paisano.
Big Paisano. I would hold the egg in one hand and then a knife in the other. Yes, Connor, this was my life for about, 6 months or so, until I managed to adjust. I would take an egg in my hand and a knife in the other, and I'd just go, and it would shatter it in half, and then I'd quickly go and into that. And that's the only way I could do it without shell getting in.
I have a similar problem with cracking eggs. It's not that I'm so strong that they just break on contact. It's that I'm holding them.
And also, to be clear, it's not like I was going with the egg. I'd go with the egg, like you're supposed to. Just crack it on the edge of a pan. But then it would just...
Yeah, no, I have a egg and I'm going it doesn't break, because I'm trying my best not to go.
You're trying your best not to make your bird bones shatter.
Yeah, no, I'm trying.
You're like, this egg is
my child,
right about as strong as my bones. I got to do the perfect amount of pressure that it breaks before me.
No, so I'll have it and I'll be like I'll try my best not to break it too much, so I can still go like that and break it in. Mm-hmm. But the only problem is, I'm not putting in
raw eggs.
No,
you're putting them in your cup so you can drink. You fucking dirty monster.
Shut up. So don't eat the shell. Anyway, I don't eat eggs.
I hate that I have to agree that yes, not eating the shell would be an at least thing.
But the problem is I'm going to crack it. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't break because I'm trying my best not to go.
Because you're like, I heard your porn addiction strong. Let me
Shut
fight
up.
it. That's the only Dragon Ball Z meme that I've ever enjoyed. I saw that, and it might be because it features a beaten Goku, because I was like, Goku can't beat my porn addiction.
I saw a meme recently that was...
Have you seen that meme? Where it's like Goku and he's like, I heard your porn addiction strong, let me fight it. And the next thing is just him beaten on the ground.
But, God damn it, you made it pop out of my head.
Good, because you asked me a question and I'm going to answer it now. So, I ate a cooked hamburger. Yes, we were talking. His last question was, what is your sickest experience? This is the time you were sickest. So, I ate the cooked hamburger and everything seemed good.
I remembered.
Anyway, so.
Actually, now
I ate the hamburgers,
the Goku
Apollo.
meme you were talking about.
I ate the hamburgers, Apollo.
The...
Please, Connor, let me finish so you can ask
The
me
meme you're
another
talking
question.
about,
We've been doing this for I don't know how much time exactly, actually, because we've been recording for a while and there's stuff we had to cut for no reason
So,
at all.
Khayman. Hash
Fucking
brown,
anyway,
not
shut
stick.
up.
All right.
You're like,
Continued-
all right, I'll
Continued with your hamburger caused diarrhea,
It was not diarrhea. I would have preferred that.
constipation, whatever.
No, so I ate this and everything seemed fine.
Did you stand up and politely say, I'm going to vomit, and then walk to the bathroom?
No. No, I did not. Stop referencing recent things that happened that were terrible. Okay, so what Connor's happening, a few days ago, I accidentally ate some rotten food that, I don't know what happened. I think maybe I didn't cook the chicken thoroughly
We were doing
enough.
game night,
Yes.
and like you're just, I'm going to vomit. I believe I'm going to vomit.
Yes, because I try to be polite.
It's okay to be like, I'm gonna vomit and like go to the bathroom, but just, we were like, just how calmly you said it was the alarming thing. Like it was a casual, like, got vomit again.
I don't know if you've met me, Connor, but I'm an
Yes, I know.
exceedingly calm
You
person.
met a ghost. No,
It was not a
everything's calm.
ghost. It was a nightmare. It
It
was
was
a
something
nightmare
in-
stood up.
It was a wraith.
I don't know. I don't like it. I don't want to think about it anymore. I've thought about it enough today.
You're welcome.
No. Anyway. Yes, so I ate the hamburger. Everything seemed fine. And then later that night, around the time I'd be digesting it, I woke up with the worst pain I've ever had in my stomach, ever. It was horrible, gut churning. And I projectile vomited across my room. It was a nightmare, Connor. And it was all just like undigested meat. Just whatever
Chunky.
whatever my body couldn't process in that like one or two hamburgers I ate. It is 7:30. Just everywhere on my, like I stood up, I was like, oh no, and then whoosh across an area. I was like, oh god. I kept trying to go shh until I just got to the bathroom and I just like collapsed at the toilet and just filled it.
Luckily not on the toilet this time.
What?
Anyway, all right, next memory.
Anyway, I didn't get any vomit on your guys' toilet.
No, not that time.
Oh, okay.
I meant you physically on the toilet. But anyway.
You're rude. Anyway, so yes, that is the most sick I have ever been.
All right, last one. Comedy comes in threes.
Except it hasn't been able to because you, like, I have some tangents which are acceptable because it's my birthday, but then you keep bringing up like crazy things where you're like, don't do that, don't drop my glass. Anyway, then you just like come out with like some crazy stuff where you're like, one time I saw a meme and it had Goku and it had Jetstream Sam and it had Virginial and then it had Sonic the Hedgehog, but like the spiky yellow super one.
But
And they were like, don't worry, Goku, we got this.
Anyway.
and then the fucking 12-year-old who made that presented it to his class and the whole classroom clapped.
Anyway, so it was all right, so last thing. What is your happiest traumatic I'm kidding. What is your happiest memory? I was really hoping we were going to do more. I don't like that I did. What's your most sick memory?
I mean, you can do another one after this, but I do have a happiest memory that actually you would have heard recently, actually.
Oh.
Not super recently, actually. It was
I hope I didn't hear it.
Towards the end of last year, we were having like a family dinner and we kind of went around.
Oh yeah, now I remember.
So my happiest memory.
It was your birthday.
No, it wasn't.
It was not your birthday. You didn't steal our fried rice this time.
You know that fried rice is in my birthday meal.
You will forever be known.
Say exactly what
you will forever be known as the fried rice thief.
It's not thievery when you ask for it and someone says yes, you can have it. You made a mistake. You only got me one personal fried rice thing. You should have gone for two. You guys know how much fried rice I like. We got two
things of fried rice, and one of them was specifically for him. And we're like, oh, let's watch a movie. And then I asked,
can I have the rest of the fried rice? And I was told yes.
Yes.
So I took it, cooked it, and ate it.
Probably because, I have the block of fried rice on my phone. But probably because Mom and Dad were like, oh, yeah, of course you're going to have the rest of your fried rice.
No, they knew. They watched me eat all of my fried rice. Somehow, you guys have seemed to forget the fact that I'm capable of lifting up like 500-something pound segments of tree and chucking them like shot puts. I need to eat a lot of stuff sometimes, and that was a time in which I was working out a lot more and having to do a lot of more heavy lifting around the caper. And so I was hungry. And you got me my personal fried rice, and I appreciated it, and I ate it. But then I was still hungry, because that's how Chinese food works. And then I asked, and Mom knows, everyone knows, I said, can I have whatever's left over the other fried rice? And I was told yes. And so I took that. I dumped it into a bowl. I put it in the microwave, and then I sat there and I ate it while we watched, what was it we watched?
I think it was a Home Alone or El Dorado.
No. It was Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh yeah, it was Napoleon Dynamite.
We watched Napoleon Dynamite, and we came up with the theory.
We came up with Kunkel Rico.
Yes, the Kunkel.
Divine Force Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes, Napoleon Dynamite is not a person. Napoleon Dynamite is a holy force.
The cult of Napoleon
that
Dynamite.
Into a town in order to help its people overcome their difficulties.
And he ended up getting there before the person who needed it. I don't remember his name. It was the one friend he had.
Anyway, he fixed everything in the end. Unfortunately, he also fixed things for his arch nemesis, the Kunkel. His Kunkel got a happy ending too, and that's not right. His Kunkel should have been sad for being a creep.
For being someone who is called Kunkel.
Yes, for being the person who can be accurately called the Kunkel, the cousin uncle, the Kunkel. Maybe we'll have to rewatch it at some point so that we can go over the lore we put into this. I have it up here somewhere.
There was also Bronkel, because we couldn't remember if they were
he was the brother
or uncle, and then there was Uncle Rico, who we couldn't remember was an uncle or a cousin, so he was the Kunkel.
Yes. Anyway, so
Bronkel and Kunkel.
Oh my God! So that my birthday meal is
meatloaf
and
mashed potatoes with the skins.
Yes, and
is your Buffalo Bill.
And there's one last thing that makes my meal complete.
I don't know, candles on your meatloaf because you're weird?
No, there's no candles on my meatloaf. That would ruin the meatloaf. You know what it is.
No,
it's my favorite vegetable.
Asparagus?
Yes. The 3 parts of my birthday dinner. I want meatloaf, I want mashed potatoes, and I want asparagus. And the mashed potatoes have to have the skin in it. And this year, Mom is putting the skins in the potatoes from the start because all of you started taking my separated boiled skins and putting it in, which made me so angry because the reason Mom started doing that for me was because everyone was like, ooh, the skins are in the potato. And then enough of you saw me taking my special skins and putting it into my mashed potatoes so I could stir it into my own.
Yes, it's...
And being like, can I have some of the skins? And I'm like, no, they're my skins. You guys turned them down.
Yes, it puts the mashed potatoes with its skins.
Or else it gets the asparagus again. Except that's a good thing. I want the asparagus, even though it makes my pee smell weird. Why,
all right,
Connor,
happiest
why
memory.
is it that we accept that asparagus makes your pee smell weird?
I don't know.
Anyway, so my happiest memory.
Happiest day.
Yes. So this was
your
back...
birthday.
No. It was back when I was maybe 4 or 5.
Oh, this was not what I thought it was.
It probably is.
No, it's not. You were not 4 and 5 when this thing happened.
Okay. Anyway, I was like 4 or 5. Like 6 at the oldest. I was still at like a being carried around most of the time age.
Probably 4 or 5.
And my mother and I, we were still living down south. And we went to this place called the Boardwalk, which is not actually on a boardwalk. It is a strip of what used to be a boardwalk that is kind of built into a hill.
Because there was hotels?
No. So it's just a little spot down there that has a few businesses on it. It has a little staircase that goes up. And there's like usually some kind of like activity things that are done up there. It's just a space that people rent out every now and then, like for a day. And we just kind of went around. We had friends there. I think Uncle Josh was there. A few of my mom's other friends were there, and we walked around.
Yeah, no, I think I've heard of this. God, yeah. This is a sign from God that I shouldn't have my ice cream.
That's the thing, that you're getting to the end.
But I say otherwise.
Yeah, stop spoiling it. It's my happiest memory.
No, it's not. It's mine.
You didn't even exist yet. You were just an egg.
I'm eternal.
You're not. You're dumb-ternal.
Shut up.
You're 3-ternal. Anyway. So we just kind of walked around. There was this man who was doing glass glowing. I said blast.
Glass glowing.
Yes. Glass blowing.
I didn't catch the blast part, but I did catch the glowing, you said.
Yes. He was doing glass blowing.
Glass glowing.
Stop. And I had never seen that before, so it was just a really like cool, magical thing to me, because he was essentially, what it looked like to me is he was taking red, orange crystals and blowing them into these shapes, and he was shaping them around. It was really cool. And then the last thing we did is we went to this local little ice cream shop that was down on the boardwalk. And we got, each of our favorite ice cream. At the time, as much as I hate the stuff now, was sherbet. I really liked sherbet at the time.
I also like sherbet. I also like sorbet.
And I think my mom had gotten like Rocky Road or something. Everyone got some ice cream. And my mom had gotten like a little dish. I'd gotten a cone. I think actually that was the first time I was allowed to get this really dumb thing they had where, so you go and get ice cream and you can ask for one scoop or 2.
Yeah.
But this place had a waffle cone that had 2 heads on it. So you got 2 scoops and they were next to each other.
4 scoops.
Yes. So I got that because I thought it looked really, I was like, I want that one. I want that with sherbet. So I got that. Mom got just like a little bowl with ice cream in it, and it came with a plastic spoon.
I'll go get some ice cream after this.
I don't know, maybe. No, because Ziggy's is closed.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll do it next time.
Maybe. Anyway, so she put her spoon in there, and it broke.
Oh, the lasagna that broke the fork? I think we were doing Thanksgiving with the Seeps,
Oh, then I probably wasn't paying attention to the broken fork lasagna.
You know, we had lasagna, I think, and Uncle Chris went to have some,
no, wait,
and the
there was
fork
not
broke.
lasagna at Thanksgiving.
Or,
it was like some kind of potato dish.
Oh, yeah, I think it was potato salad or something. It was something that kind of looked like lasagna.
It was not potato salad. Potato salad's like a thing. I think it was like potato scallops or something like that.
Yeah, but so
some
he went
kind of
to
potato dish.
he went to like have it. He had a plastic spoon because of course it's not going to break a metal one, and the things just broke on it.
But yeah, so Mom had taken the thing and went to do it, and it just snapped the spoon. And so she looked at this and she said, "I feel like this is a sign from God that I don't need any more ice cream. But I'm going to ignore that." And she just put the little end in the scoop, and she grabbed the like shovel end of the spoon and just started eating like that. It worked perfectly well. And that memory is my happiest memory, because that time, more than any time, what fucking ever, happiest day. It's just an old memory in which I felt very content.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing negative at all that happened in relation to that day. It was just a really good day. And it happened apropos of nothing. It wasn't my birthday. It wasn't anyone's birthday. It's just something we did because we had the time and the finance for that day.
Yeah, I thought you were going to talk about the time I think we were having meatloaf and you were over. We were going to play some games. I think it was Ransom Notes that we were going to play.
Probably not, because I don't like Ransom Notes.
And you were like, "Am I dead?"
Oh.
And like I got with the, like I thought that's what you were gonna say.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty good day too. But just, it doesn't have the same kind of like nostalgic glint to it.
Yeah.
Because that happened like 4 months ago.
Was it 4 months? I think it was 6.
I don't think it was 6.
It might have been 5.
I'm pretty sure it was 4.
Maybe it was 4.5.
Because I'm pretty sure it happened in the fall. And if today's February, then 4 months ago was the
4.5. Anyway, so, all right, last one.
Last one. Last one.
What was the worst injury? I'm kidding.
Ask whatever thing. This is how I wanted to do it. Ask any like memory question about my life you want.
What is your earliest memory?
Well, that's really boring, so you're going to have to ask another one after this. My first memory...
All right, fine. What is your...
No, you already asked that. My first memory, the oldest memory I have, is I must have still been like an infant. And this was one of those cases where just like something happens that activates your memory for a second.
Yeah.
And I was in a baby carrier, you know, one of those things with the handle. And I'd been set down next to a door. I'm assuming we were going somewhere soon. It was like a screen door, and the sun was in my eyes, and it really bothered me.
This reminds me of
old man birth. The only thing in my memory is that I was in, you know, a comfy thing, and I had been set down, but then the sun was super bright, and it agitated me. But it's so early, there's no like words, there's no thoughts. It was just that, you know, I felt comfy, but the sun was too bright.
Again, it was like your birth. You're just like...
Well, yes. When I was born, I didn't make any noise until they started washing me, and then I started only making weird little complainant noises.
That's how you were born an old man.
Well, that's what happens when you leave a baby in for like a month too long. I get an extra like month or half a month extra gestation.
And that makes you an old man.
I mean, I don't fucking know.
All right, what's your worst injury that you've ever had?
Worst injury I've ever had?
Like the time you lost an arm or something.
Well, I've not lost any digits or limbs as far as I'm aware.
It turns out you were born with 6 fingers on one hand.
Probably not. Yeah, definitely not.
I like the little bit of like, yeah, no.
I don't know. Things happen. That is a hard one, actually. It would have to be a tie between 2. So should I like decide between one or the other, or should I tell both?
Tell both.
Okay, so the first one was when I was a toddler.
Good. Put the fear in you. Get the trauma.
I mean, no, this was probably the first sign that everyone should have had that there was something not quite right about me.
Like the time you bit mom.
Only once.
Oh,
Never again.
The only time you ever really...
That was the one time I ever acted against mom. And I was immediately told otherwise. And then never did so ever again.
Because you wanted your Thomas the Tank Engines.
It was something like
Toys
that.
R Us.
I don't remember. I was like a baby. All I
Uncle
remember is Uncle Josh putting the fear of God into me.
Before mom reacted, Uncle Josh picked you up, took you outside, and was like, "You will never do that again."
Yep.
You will never do that again, and then took you back inside, and you said sorry.
And I never did again. Never did anything close to that ever again.
Now.
Nope, to this day. Anyway, so this was one of those things that should have been like the first time that something was
mom judo chopped you in the throat.
No, because that was an injury. And yes, one time I was making this noise that my mom didn't like. It's gonna make her sound horribly abusive, but she knows that I'm durable, and that was the.
He was making it his version of. That was unnerving.
Yeah, no.
You're a reptile person.
And that's why mom hates that noise. Yeah, no one else can make it. I've not met a single other person who can make that noise. Anyway, so yes, it really bothered mom, and so she said if I did it again, she'd judo chop me in the neck. And we were in the car, and I
just want to let you know, it wasn't like a
teenage
throat punch kind of thing. It was probably just...
Oh, no. She hit me as hard as she could.
Okay.
I'm the most durable son. She knows this. I was laughing the whole time, and I was being an asshole teenager. This is the most
Right,
asshole teenager thing I did. So I made that noise, and she was like, "You need to stop making. I hate that noise. Stop doing that." And she's like, "If you do it again, I'm going to judo chop you in the throat." And so I kind of grinned at this. I'm like, "Oh, sure you are." And I waited for her to be turning. I waited for her to be turning the car because I was like, "There's no way she can judo chop me if she's turning." And so as she's turning, I went. And I had not gotten much more than that out when her hand shot off the wheel and smacked me square in the Adam's apple, which sounded something like... I can't believe you fucking judo chopped me in the throat.
I like the idea that you did swear there. I can't.
I did. I said, I can't believe you fucking judo chopped me in the throat, all while laughing. And she's like, I fucking told you. I told you I would. You challenged me, and I showed you that that's not
challenging my authority.
Yeah, that's essentially what it did. I challenged your authority, and then she was like, nope, I'm your mom.
Mom powers activate.
And so yeah, then I laughed about it, and I did not make that noise in front of her again for like 7 years. It was only actually within the last year or two, actually.
And now you have Herbert.
Well, yeah, I had that since middle school. So yeah, actually, it's more than... Dear Lord, I'm so upset, Connor. That was 18 years ago.
That you were able to do Herbert?
Oh, wait, no. I that was 11 years ago.
I was going to say, man, how old are you?
I don't know, man.
Do your Herbert for the audience.
I am not. I will save that for a later thing that you're aware of.
Ah, yes.
Anyway, so yeah, no, that's not the worst injury I've ever sustained. So the first of the two, I was a toddler, and I was given, for whatever reason, someone made a bad choice, and they got me this giant snow globe, like really beautiful, ornate snow globe.
Oh no. Is this going to be like you can put a light bulb in your mouth, but you can't put it out?
No, because this thing was this big. So no. I'll explain.
All right, good.
Right? So, I'd been given this, and I thought it was really cool. And my mom had to take a shower.
Oh no.
And she knew that I couldn't be trusted around this thing, so she put it up.
I just want to make sure it's known. It is our mom. Because I have not existed during these things.
I'm pretty sure I just said
my mom. No, you just said my mom.
Oh, okay. So mom knew that I was, I shouldn't be trusted around this. So she put it up on a counter.
Oh, no.
Where I couldn't reach it. And then she went to take her shower. And before anyone gets all crazy, this is because this is before people got really like nervous about babies, and you used to just kind of like let them be sometimes. And I turned out fine. I'm alive.
I'm gonna predict the future.
I'm the strongest of all my siblings.
Brain damage. Yeah, I will say, I was probably the most sheltered child.
Yes, definitely. With Penelope, like maybe being a slightly less like pulled back a little bit on the.
I like how it sounded like you said slightly less shit.
No, so just slightly less sheltered than you, because it was like an overcorrection with you, and then it was like, okay, let's pull back.
I mean, we've all agreed.
Number one. I don't know. I think I'm getting close to reclaiming my number one title. You've been like a stinky. You're a stinky teenager, and that's bugging mom.
Yeah, no, because we were.
It was myself
Christmas
well clean.
Last year, 2021. That's
not last year, man. Last year Christmas was 2022.
I know, it's just because of Christmas happens before New Year. But yeah, it was 2021. An uncle who we hadn't seen in a while was here, Uncle Keith.
Uh-huh.
And we were talking. Somehow the topic of favorites was happening. I was zoning out. And and somehow like favorite child came up. And you and Aiden just simultaneously, Connor's the favorite.
Yeah. We're not going to fight with the truth.
And then it got to number 2, and I'm the favorite. And then it was like, well, in that case, I'm the third favorite. And then that just left Penelope as least.
Anyway.
Favorite daughter.
Anyway. So. She went to the shower, and I was left alone, because that was okay at the time.
Yeah.
And
I don't
unfortunately,
know if Mom ever left me alone.
Nope.
As a child, like even with someone.
Probably not very long. Anyway. Unless like it was me. So.
Oh yeah, now I remember.
I was, however,
teenage you.
Unfortunately.
Oh no.
Yes, I carried you around all the time.
No, not that. I'm remembering I'm remembering what teenage you looked like, and it's like the exact opposite of now.
I wouldn't say exact opposite.
Like you had a more narrow chin. You weren't.
Well,
big.
Yes, my head has gotten physically broader with time. Even when I don't have as much weight packed on,
I
have gotten
a broad chin.
Broader. Well, that's because you have a round head, a la mom. Anyway, so unfortunately for my mom, I was born super duper smart. And so I knew how to get at that thing. I waited for it to go in the shower. I waited to hear it go on. And then I apparently took a chair and I pushed it up against the counter. And I climbed onto the chair and I got the thing on the counter and I climbed down.
Yeah, no,
here's where the problem came. I, as a wee little toddler person, had no concept of glass. And no concept of anything round that isn't a bouncy ball.
I don't know why, but at first I thought you were talking about like how birds can't see glass.
No, it's just that I didn't understand the concept of a breakable object. And I didn't understand anything being round that wasn't a bouncy ball.
This reminded me of a time
and there was this little bit of hardwood
and I dropped it. And it shattered open, and I took the pickles I wanted from it. I'm pretty sure I was 6.
Okay, that sounds about right. Anyway. And I had this one little bit of hardwood floor in front of a door that was the bouncy ball spot, where I take balls and toss them onto the floor so they bounce. And so I took this big snow globe, I went over there, and I went to bounce it. It did not bounce. It shattered into hundreds of sharp pieces, and this startled me. So I tried to run away from it. But I slipped, and a piece of glass dug into my calf and ripped up.
Tasty.
Yep. Very deep gash. And now this is where, because I have no memory of this, most of this is what Mom has guessed happened. So we'll just go from Mom's perspective now. So she doesn't hear any of this. In the shower, she gets out of the shower to come check on me because she didn't need to fully dry off. She got a towel on. And she finds me sat outside the bathroom door in a in a pool of blood on the carpet. Just sitting, like, looking at her, just, like, looking miserable and sad. Like, not, like, sobbing, but just, like... Just like this, yes, I've always been this way.
Sound, just...
Yeah, because that's probably what I...
Meanwhile, there's me, dropped a folding chair on my toe, fractured, and... toe pain.
Anyway, so she freaks out, calls, like, gets me, like, wrapped up, and I'm immediately taken to the hospital. And they,
and they cooked you asparagus, and they put it in front of you, and you devoured it because you were real hungry.
Nope. So, because of how young I was, they couldn't use any kind of anesthetic. Ooh. Because the anesthetics of the day back then would kill a baby. So you couldn't do that kind of stuff. So here's what they had to do in order to examine me and then sew my leg up while I was fully conscious and not numbed. They strapped me to a board. Because that's what you did. So they had a board. They had these baby-sized boards, and you would strap their arms and legs down.
Yeah, no, I just imagine this, like, plank of wood in the shape of a toddler.
Almost exactly that.
Belt straps on each part of it, so like legs, hands, and head, to just keep you down.
Not the head, just the arms and legs.
Sides too, like.
Well, yeah, they had to do that so that you wouldn't struggle and move around when they were trying to help you, because they could not numb you because it would probably kill you because the stuff was too strong.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what was believed at the time. So. They strap me down, they first x-ray the leg and examine it, and determine, luckily, there's no glass in it, which doesn't make any sense to them because of how deep it is.
You ate the glass.
No, it seems like I probably picked the glass out. Like it was a shard that got in and I pulled it out. Because, even babies know what is not meant to be in them. It is
such a miracle. I know how you're describing it. Mm-hmm. There's no way you did not cry during this, because that is physically not possible for a human.
Well, I was definitely teared up, but I didn't make noise. Otherwise, Mom would have heard. She found me outside the bathroom, just sitting, looking miserable at her. Not knocking and banging at the door, just sitting outside the door I knew she was in, waiting to be helped.
All right, Boulder.
Like I said, this should have been a sign from a young age that there was something not quite right with this boy. So they took me to the hospital. They looked, saw that there was no glass in, which was lucky, which means either it came out or I moved it out at some point.
Khayman, I just want to say...
Do you just want to say? It seems like you always want to say. There's no just about it.
I hope for my birthday you'll also ask about, like, most traumatic memory.
And you're going to be like,
because in thinking about it,
my moose got hurt.
Anyway, you might know me too well.
Well, yeah, that's fine. I can still ask you. But unlike you, I won't interrupt.
Don't worry,
except when necessary, to be like, I was here and this is what actually happened. Anyway, so...
I'm just like, yeah, there was this time where burglars came in. It was right after I was born. I beat them all up. I punched one straight to the moon.
And I'll be like,
and then I tumbled and I scraped my knee.
Our uncles came and he was freaked out, so he smacked at him. And he was like... Anyway.
Our uncles came and he smacked him.
Anyway. You weren't a very flaily baby, actually. Penelope was very flaily.
I know, I was chill.
You were floppy baby.
I don't like... I'm fine with flailing. I don't like floppy baby. That seems something that a baby should not
that's
be.
what you were.
I'll stay with I was hairy big baby.
You were one of the smallest ones. I was the biggest baby.
No, I was a big baby. My knees, man. They were burritos.
That's just because babies are fat. I was the biggest baby. I was born nearly 2 feet long and weighing like 9-something pounds.
And I was hairiest baby.
I mean, you were a hairy baby. Aiden was born with a full head of hair.
I was born with a full head of hair and back hair, man.
Whatever. Let me finish my thing.
And now Penelope's bald.
Yes, Mom had her first girl, and she was the baldest of all the babies. Not a speck of hair on her. Mom was so desperate that when the second there was any like wisps of hair on her, she put like little pigtails in, but they wouldn't stay in right. I have vivid memories of this being like, Mom, Penelope's still like bald. You're gonna end up pulling the only little hair she has out. And she's like, I cannot have a bald baby. I can't believe it. I wanted a daughter for so long, and she was born bald and ugly. Because Penelope was also the ugliest baby.
Oh yeah, now I remember.
She was a hideous.
Yeah, now I remember. Your baby picture was literally just an old man.
Yes, I looked
like an Italian old man. And then there's Penelope covered in red.
Her nose is completely squished. Her face is always like. She was a hideous baby. She's very pretty now. She's a very cute girl. But she was a hideous baby. She was one of those babies you show a picture of to
and
your
then I
friends,
was the
and they're
small
like,
bear.
Oh, she's so cute.
And then I was the small bear.
Yes. Anyway, so they're like, okay, this is good. We've got to sew the leg shut, though. I
don't know why. I thought you were still talking about Penelope as a baby.
We've got to sew the leg shut. She can't have 3. Fully deformed baby. You're the one who said it. Anyway, so they were like, we do have to sew it shut.
You're the one who made it a third leg.
I don't know, why else would she be showing her? Like, they'd be sewing a leg shut because they had to remove the third one.
No.
Anyway, so they're like, we do have to, like, sew the wound shut, though. It's too deep for us to, like, bandage or anything. So they sewed it shut, and they have me on this. And again, I'm not anesthetized, so I'm just fully, like, freaking
writhing in pain.
No, I'm just mostly going like, no. Until I managed to break my left arm loose.
Shut up.
Yes, you can ask Mom about this. I did. I broke my left arm loose.
You're like,
Mom.
yeah, I was born like Chuck Norris.
Give me your phone. I'm going to call Mom and ask her, and she will confirm this. And I'll do it with no leading things. How do I open your phone?
Give it back.
Yeah, you gave me your locked phone. That's not going to help me.
What's the magic word?
Please.
Oh, I should have said wrong.
Well, too late, because you had to admit no. Why is there a baby picture of you as your picture of you?
Wait,
or is
what?
this a year ago?
I think it was when I first got my phone. Remember, I had a baby face. Until I got my facial hair.
Isn't that's like beyond baby. Why haven't you prioritized any of these?
What do you mean?
It like favorited any of the phone numbers.
I don't play favorites.
Wrong. Okay.
Or wait, what time is it?
It's 8:09.
Oh, Mom's probably asleep.
Hello.
Apologies, Madre. You're on the air. Because Connor is calling me a liar. So I'm going to prompt you with as little information as possible. Do you remember when I was a baby and I cut my leg open?
Yes.
When it was getting sewn shut, what notable thing did I do?
You fought to get one arm free to hold me around the neck.
And did I do so?
Yes.
I told you.
I just want to point out, you didn't specify around the neck.
Well, I just wanted to hold my mom. It was horrifying, and they couldn't like give me any kind of anesthetic because I was a baby.
The picture in my mind is
I made
just
them stop trying to fight your arm down.
is just like
Yes.
little baby came and just. Mom.
I wasn't strangling her. I was just holding
was
her.
going to bed.
Yes, he
night.
pointed that out. Good night, Mom.
Bye.
Okay, so as confirmed by Mother in front of the world, I did in fact break my arm loose so that I could hold her because I was so scared.
Just.
And yes, after I first got it loose, they started trying to hold my arm down until they were like, Mom was like, stop, just let him hold me. And so I just held Mom while they sewed my leg shut. So that's the first worst injury.
I'm a bit worried. My banking account app just went. It has more hustle, more money. What's a side hustle and how you can start one?
Okay, well, don't listen to that. They're gonna be like, if you pay us $1,000 a month, we'll teach you how to turn that into $5,000. And they're gonna then be like, the secret is get someone to give you $1,000 a month to teach them how to make No, anytime anyone asks you to pay them a lot of money to learn how to make money, you're being scammed. Yeah. Anyway, so the one that was tied as the final story of Khayman's,
the one you broke free.
Well, yeah, that was the first one. And so, yeah, don't call me. I'm telling these memories as they happened. Yes.
Ma.
I didn't grab her by the throat. I grabbed around her neck. Because she was, she was, putting her arm on me. Like, she's putting her arm on me while I'm strapped down. And I got an arm free so I could hold on to her. It was a horrible experience for a baby to go through. There's a reason I am the way I am. I was born a big, strong baby.
Before the towers.
Connor, Jesus.
What?
But yes, I was alive when that happened.
All right.
I have memories of that day.
What's your second most injury?
Second worst injury. This was when we were living in Marshall, but it was after all the crazy things.
After the ghosts.
Yes, Aiden was born at this point.
Spooky, scary.
He was still like just, a tiny little baby man.
Still a fetus.
No, he wasn't a fetus. He was a born person, just weirdly with a full head of hair. Because Aiden was born with a full head of hair, and because his hair is black, he's always had this dark black head of hair. And what's even worse about that is it means that all of his baby pictures look exactly as he does now, because since he was a C-section baby, his head is still the same shape as when he was born. It never got schmooshed. So he just has baby head. It's just scaled up.
All right, so is this another I saved the younger one from death?
No, I only have one of those stories.
Oh, who's it?
Aiden.
Oh, all right.
Because he was mad during a game of tag and he ran into the middle of the road and I had to jump in front to keep a truck from plowing him over.
Aiden has like 5. I think he has tried to tell me that there are 5 times in which he has saved my life.
It's probably like...
And I'm pretty sure there are 2 that are accurate.
I feel like both of those are going to be like, you were on the couch and then you turned over and you almost fell and I caught you.
No, one of them was you apparently messed with some kids, maybe kicked them in the nuts and then ran home. And I had to sit outside and make sure they
Wait, you did that?
Apparently, according to Aiden.
I feel like that can't be possible. You were like a non-active Connor, most of my memories of you before you turned 10 are of you being completely silent and holding your moose. And me carrying around this mute child that couldn't even say my name correctly.
Yeah, Pam.
Yeah,
anyway,
Pam.
But the other one is apparently I was climbing our drawers.
Oh yeah, you did that.
And the TV on them fell and Aiden caught it.
I mean, maybe that happened, but I feel like he usually says the shelves were going to fall down. But
No,
that didn't mean anything because they were bolted
Or at
to
least
the
the
back.
first time he said the TV fell, or something like a TV fell.
Anyway, you did
and he
climb a
caught it.
lot.
Yeah, I was a climber.
The worst climbing incident was when you climbed up the cat tree and onto the entertainment center.
Oh.
No, you just sat up there, and then we were all mortified, and we had to get down
No,
to
Mom
get you
says
down.
I said, help.
Maybe. I don't
There's
know.
also a time where I fell on my face, and I tried to blame you for it.
Yes. A lot of you kids have tried to blame me for things I was nowhere near to do. Luckily, Mom never believed it because she knew I was good with
I
kids.
tried to blame Aiden for writing on your door by writing my name on it, because I was like, this is big brain. Big brain. I wrote Aiden's name because I was
Yes.
playing three-dimensional chess in my
Except
mind, and I was like,
it was.
they're gonna think it was me, but then they're gonna think, oh, Aiden tried to frame him.
And the problem being that it was your handwriting. And so, because you had a specific way you did O's, and you thought that
I thought
Aiden was
it was
A done.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be my ends,
Nope, it was your O's.
since I do my ends like this.
Yep. No, it was the big O. Instead of Aiden, it was Adon.
Yes, instead of Adan, it was Adon.
Yeah. Anyway, so second worst injury. And that was on an equal level. We were living in Marshall. At this point, though, I was 9. Mom
So, like,
had work.
3 to 2 years after the ghost incident.
Yeah. So, Mom had work, and so I was at this after-school program every day.
Yeah.
This day, it was just, I guess the weather wasn't good for going outside, so we were playing around in the gymnasium for a bit. Because every after-school club would consist of is us having like 10 to 20 minutes of like active outside time, and then we'd come back inside and we could like draw or do board games.
Yeah.
Essentially, like, get all your crazy energy from being cooped up in school out, and then come in and be calm for when your parents get here.
Yeah.
I noticed that there was another couple kids who were
And
trying
you
to build
Picked
some
a fight
kind
with
of
them.
no.
And
they
then
were trying.
they beat you up.
No, they were trying to create some kind of
Nuclear missile.
Stop. Some kind of fort using those old gym mats, which were these like 4 folding mats that, like, you know, you would make like a W with them as you folded them shut. And we would lay them out whenever we had to do like sit-ups and stuff.
Oh, I think you're gonna. I had similar. I think
Because
we
this
had
was an old
similar
school,
things at
so the
kindergarten for like
the
nap time.
I mean, maybe. But these are big.
Yeah.
We would use them for sit-ups and things like that because it was an old school, so the gymnasium floor was made of hardwood. Not like the kind of springy shit they do now, where you can fall and doesn't hurt as much as normal floor. We'd also, whenever we did like dodgeball, things like that, we'd use it to make like forts and stuff that you could hide behind during special kinds of dodgeball.
Cheater.
No, it's what we did.
Imagine not having the skill to properly dodge.
We were 9, and it wasn't for dodgeball, but for special kinds of dodgeball, like dodgeball capture the flag. And
Oh
things
yeah,
like
now
that.
that I think of it, we did something similar last year.
I finished my
But before high school or before middle school, what we did instead of dodgeball and stuff like that was kind of dumb, but I was really good at it.
Okay.
It was basically like penguin dodgeball. We would have like bowling pins, and we had to keep them in between or we didn't have to keep them in between our
I
legs.
kind of know what you're talking
They
about.
had to
That does
stay
sound
where
dumb.
they were placed, and there was like a circular mat where they had to be.
Mm-hmm.
And like the goal was to be the last person with a pin standing, and when you get your pin removed, when your pin gets knocked down, you give it to one person who wasn't playing. And it was like that.
I feel like me and my friends had a similar game we made up, which was our version of King of the Hill, but in a construction site.
Oh no.
I'll explain this later. Anyway.
Yeah, no,
let me tell the story.
I was
You
real
always
good at
do
it.
this.
All right, yes, continue.
Anyway,
You may
so
continue.
they were trying to make some kind of fort with these mats. But what I noticed, they had like all the mats like precariously balanced. So like no bending to them. They were just like balanced on the one edge. And I was already pretty engineering astute at the time. And I looked at that, I'm like, that's dumb. They're just going to fall down. Like if like a breeze hits them, they're going to fall down.
Yeah.
And I went and I told them that. I was like, hey, I don't think you're building this right because that's too flimsy. If it just gets tapped a little, it's going to come crashing down.
And then they beat you up.
No. They said I was dumb and I didn't know what they were talking about. It was fine. And I was like...
Sounds like something a child would say.
Yes. And I said, no, it's not. It'll fall if it like just gets like brushed. Like, no, it won't. And I'm like, yes, it will.
I like the
and
sudden
then
movement you made. No, it won't.
Yeah, because that's what I was like. No, it won't. Is that what he was like? He was like, no, it won't. And I was like, yeah, it will. And he's like, no, it won't. And I'm like, yeah, it will. And then I just kind of went, I just tapped it. Just little. And of course, it went, it fell down.
Remember the fortune
And
Aiden would make?
he took umbrage with this. So he chased me and I kind of started backing.
Beat you up.
Could you just fucking listen?
Yeah.
So no,
You just
so I
remind me
started
of the
backing away
forts
from
me and
him.
Aiden used to make with those like hexagons and
Yes,
tubes.
the wooden things, yes.
No, they weren't one. They were like plastic.
The hexagons were wooden. And then it was
Okay.
plastic tubes that...
Oh yeah.
Like these kind of like carbon fiber tube things.
I don't think they were carbon fiber.
It could have been. That stuff's not like super expensive when you're making
Oh.
like a small thing. Like most arrows nowadays are carbon fiber, and arrows are like 50 cents a piece.
Oh.
The head is what's expensive. Especially if you get those more advanced ones that like expand when they go in. Anyway. So,
They beat you up.
no.
You
So
beat
I
them up.
no. So I started backing away because he's like coming at me, and I'm like backing up. Like I told you it was going to fall, and then he comes up to me and he shoves me,
And you died.
and I fell back, and behind me was
Was a
a
spear.
metal door frame.
Oh, yeah, we were
like one of
playing-
those old metal door frames they have in a lot of high schools.
We were playing football last
I swear to
year.
fucking God, Colin.
And it was like
you
the
are
things where
interrupting me again.
It had like the flags that
I'm
you'd pull
going
off.
to murder.
And
you.
there was one person on the other team who did actually play football.
Uh-huh.
And so they have like the football reflexes.
Okay.
And like he was running with it and I was next to him trying to get his thing and he shoulder tapped me.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, we were right next to the doors that went outside.
Mm-hmm.
So I fell outside. And I was really confused because like naturally I closed my eyes.
And then you opened it, it's bright, and you're like, oh, did I die?
And I opened it and I was outside. I was like, oh, the fuck, where am I?
Anyway, that
And then
sounds
I-
much preferable to what I had.
And then like he
fucking
and I'm
God,
not
Connor,
saying
let
like
me
he was
finish.
like, oh, better to look next time. No, he was like, dude, you okay? I'm sorry.
Oh, that's what good sportsmanship is like.
And he like picked me up, made sure I was okay. I went to the health office because my ankle hurt a bit. I think I
That
like
sounds like
scraped
you.
my ankle.
Anyway, that sounds much
Khayman,
preferable to
you
what
frame
happened
this
to me.
as if I'm a punk. I'm not. I'm not gonna be
No,
like.
it's not like you're a punk. It's like you
I
were like...
scraped my knee. I
No, it's because...
need to go home.
That's not a punk. That's a nerd. And that is what you are. That's what you do. You're like, oh man, I feel like my ankle is a little weird. I would like to go home. And then
No,
you
I
go
was
home.
like, oh my ankle's stinging. Like so, I like lowered my sock. And
Okay.
I was like, oh, I scraped my ankle.
Wonderful.
And I go to the health office.
Can I get
and
to
make
my
sure
traumatic
this is okay.
head injury now?
Ah, yes, your traumatic head injury.
Yes. So he shoves me. This metal door frame's behind me,
Mm-hmm.
and my head hits right on one of these sharp
Is this
ends.
one of the stories of how you broke your head open?
This is the story.
Oh, I thought, didn't it happen when you fell down the stairs one time?
No.
Have you ever fallen down the stairs?
Yes, but I broke my coccyx.
You and Aiden with falling down the stairs.
I don't know that Aiden's ever actually fallen down the stairs. And if he did, it was always like our carpeted ones. I fell down old wooden stairs, and every single step of the way hit me in the coccyx and literally busted it.
Where is your coccyx?
It's the tip of your tailbone.
Alright.
The bottom of your spinal column becomes what's called the sacrum, which is this fused bit of vertebrae, and then the bottom of that is a bone called the coccyx. And it is this small little nub of bone at the end of your spinal column. I cracked that, and it put a bruise all the way up my spine because that's how sensitive that part is. And still, I laid in pain on the couch and told this girl who had come with me to play like a game that I was perfectly fine, until she noticed that there were like silent tears streaming out of my eyes as I was laying sideways.
Like that's one thing that we share in common. Like I will be like,
and oh dear Lord, my injury! You keep doing this. Stop! I'm not allowed.
But no, I will be like sometimes like silent tears. I don't know what it was. Sometimes when it's cold, it like opens up my tear duct.
Okay. So
anyway, this one time
he pushes me back, and my head collides with this sharp edge of the metal door frame because they didn't know how to like make things not sharp edged at the time. And I immediately reel back up in pain. It feels like I've gotten a knot in the top of my head. No, I did not. Because have you ever hit your head really hard and it leaves like a lump? What they call a knot in your head?
I don't know for sure. I've hit my head real hard before, but not...
I've had this a couple times.
In my bunk bed, and I'm getting up, and I'm like...
Or like, so not...
Going on the top, and I hit my
Knot
head.
is normally like you're playing ball with your friends, and then the baseball clacks you in the side of the head.
I thought you were going to say, and then the baseball bat.
Well, yeah, if you get hit in the head with a baseball bat, that's a quick way to a knot in your head or death.
I'm actually pretty decent at baseball.
Wonderful. Anyway, so I think that I've just gotten a knot in my head, and I'm clenching it.
Tracking the ball.
And I'm clenching it down, and I'm trying to like wait for the pain to stop because that's what I'd normally do whenever I'd knock my head. And it's clutching it. And a teacher, of course, has noticed this. And it was this little Indian woman who, even though I was 9, was like my height. And she comes up and she's like, "Oh my God, Khayman, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just got like a knot on my head." And then her eyes go, she's like, "Khayman, you're not fine." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And then I can feel what I thought was sweat
I was really
is actually
worried
blood
for
coming down my head.
You were gonna say, and then I saw a bit of blood out of the corner of my eye, and like
No, she's like, "Khayman, you're bleeding." And I realized that what I thought was like sweat on my forehead was some blood that had started coming down, and I pulled my hand away for a second, and it's blood, and I'm like, "Oh no." And that's what I was like, "Oh no, what happened?" And they're like,
"Get the staples."
And so, well, we'll get to that. So that's the end of recess time. And they take me back, and here's the fucked up part. So as a kid, right, they're not going to tell me, "So your head's busted open, we can see your skull."
Jesus.
But you'd think, right, that if your kid has suffered a major injury at an after-school club, when they call the parent, they're going to be like, "Hey, you got to get here quick. Your kid has a skull injury and needs to go to the hospital."
Sit you in like the nurse's office until mom and your dad came?
No, my dad was still down south at this time. He still lives down there. I think he's in Indiana right now. Anyway, no, mom and I are the only ones who moved up north. They divorced when I was like 1 year old. Anyway, so no, that would probably been a better option. What they did,
had you wait outside.
No. They just took me into the inside class area and played a board game with me.
Oh, did they like bandage it or anything?
They managed to get like an ice pack from the nurse's office, but they couldn't find any towels, so it was just school paper towels wrapping that, and then I was just supposed to hold that on top of my head. Hold that on top of my head wound, it'll make the damage go away. And when they called mom, they didn't say major head injury. They said, "Oh, Khayman kind of, he bumped his head. It looks like it might be bleeding a little."
I was really worried for a second because I thought you were going to say, "Oh, Khayman fell." And then that's just it.
Yeah, so they downplayed this significantly, but said, "You should come and get him." So mom eventually arrives there, and when she arrives there, here's what she sees. She sees nervous-looking after school club guidance people and her son holding this bloody paper towel and ice pack to his head.
Yeah.
And she's like...
I think it was out of frame.
She was... Probably, because you're acting all crazy. And she was furious. But, like, probably never more mad. She came to me, she looked at it, was very upset, and then took me back home.
I'm
and
guessing
then
this was...
discussed with Elaine and Chris what should be done. And they're like, there's no way that's closing on its own. They're full of shit. Because we can see, like, bone.
Yeah, I
and
feel
so
like that's...
I was taken to urgent care, or the emergency room. The doctor looked at it and was also like, yeah, that's really fucking bad.
Yeah,
and by this point, the pain has kind of gone away. It still really hurts, but not nearly as bad as when it opened.
I will say, there are quite a
would
few
not
moments I
remain.
can remember of mom and dad being, like, nurse mom and dad moments of them being, like, our parent, we're very fragile, and I don't mean that as in we
Maybe
break
you
easily.
guys.
No, I don't mean that as in we break easily. I mean we break often.
No, I think you guys are the fragile ones. Those two injuries, there's like a few minor, like I cut my like knuckle open.
Like, it's
at
gotten
one
to the
time.
point where, like, mom knows, like, when I'm sick or not, or
Well, that's
like
because
when
mom's
to...
got good instinct for things like that. Mom is mom.
Yeah, mom is mom, and like she's really good at like evaluating injuries.
Anyway, let me finish this.
Like when like earlier when I was talking about how I fractured my toe, she was like able to tell from my face of I'm in a lot of pain
That it was definitely a minor injury.
that it was like, all right, this isn't that big, but hospital.
Yes, so.
And here's the thing, they didn't even tell me I fractured. I don't remember what they told me. I only found out that I fractured my toe 2 years ago, and I think I was 8 or 9 when this happened.
Okay. So, they take me to the emergency room, and the doctor looks at it and is like, which is the first sign that like something's not good. Because they're like looking at
they're
this.
taking you into, like they're walking you in the emergency room. A doctor's just like,
Well, there was definitely no
That's not
waiting.
good.
This is the fastest I ever got seen by a doctor ever my entire life. They were like, yes. So we will go, we need
that's
to close
another
this head
thing
wound.
about my fractured toe. I
So-
remember calling mom as she was driving into the garage, and then I was in the hospital. That's what I remember.
So the doctor looks at it, washes the area up a bit, and then says, okay, so it's too
Got any
big of a
staples?
wound for us to glue it. So we have to staple it to make sure that the wound does not open up again.
did they chain you down again?
No, because I was, a functional brained person at the time. So they said, we're going to put some lidocaine on the wound, and that should numb it up. It'll just feel like a mosquito bite. She was a liar. And so then she took out fucking staple gun.
I thought you were going
and
to
then
say
went,
she took out a syringe.
Well, that was first. First, she put a syringe in my head and then injected lidocaine. Rubbed the area for a bit until it seemed like it worked just went into the
Okay,
flesh.
that's the thing. I don't like.
And then
I feel like doctors shouldn't be like, oh, you will barely feel a thing, or like it'll just be a mosquito. But I feel like it should sound a little worse. Like I feel like it should be like,
Well, that's because they don't want to panic you, because the more they panic you, the more likely you're to experience a complication.
yes, but the less likely you are to be like, you liar.
Well,
You're still gonna be
I
like
wasn't
liar.
like that. She put the staples in. I think I needed 5
Yeah, I've
to seal the wound. And then,
Where were the other 3 for?
what do you mean?
You said 5.
Yeah, 5.
5 staples, 2 to seal the wound. What were the other 3 used for?
No, I said in order to seal the wound.
Oh, I misheard you then. I thought you said 2 were used to seal the wound.
Yeah,
And,
the 3 others were to close my mouth so I didn't scream. No. So she put the staples in,
3 other
and
words
it
were to keep.
definitely did not feel like mosquito bites. So the whole time I'm like, and then when
What'd
she's
it feel
finished,
like?
it felt like someone put a staple in my head. If you can imagine, if you ever... Actually, I don't recommend this because I still have a scar on my thumb from this.
It's another
But if you ever
marker-
get a staple through your thumb, which I have had happen to me before, I don't remember what I did to make it happen, but it did. And I was very perturbed by it. And then the teacher didn't believe me when I said, I've stapled my thumb. And this is a problem because I'm so calm all the time. She's like, yeah, no, it's not a thing. And she pulled it. And then felt that it tugged at my flesh, and then my thumb started bleeding. And she's like, oh! She put a Band-Aid on it. It felt like that, but 5 times and in my head. And both prongs going in.
I just imagine it's another
awful.
like Markiplier incident of they didn't put painkillers in it. It was just like IV water.
Oh yeah, no, they just gave him saline that time.
You just
Anyway.
got saline.
No, she did the right thing. And so I told her, you're a liar. That did not feel like mosquito bites. And Mom was like, hey. And she was like, yeah, I thought the lidocaine might have not fully put into effect. But you're done. It's done now. And so then that was how it was for a while until the muscle and such healed back up. And then they had to remove them, which was also unpleasant.
Did it feel like a mosquito bite that time?
No. It felt like someone pulled some staples out of my head. It wasn't nearly as painful as going in. It was not pleasant.
All right, well, this has been Tism Talk.
This has been Tism Talk. An extra long Tism Talk for my extra long, dear Lord, how old am I birthday?
Yeah. We've lost track. 27, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.